One for Thanks, Adam, for our Homes for LA NOFA. My name is Hannah Levian. I am a housing program manager with the housing department. And for the next hour, 45 minutes or so, I may need to jump a little bit early because I have to go to a webinar, or a meeting here. But I'm joined by my colleagues, Eric, Adam, Pratik, Lizzo, Clement, both on the IT side and I'm on the program side. So I was not I was not in the last one with my colleague Eddie, but the purpose of this is to get your questions answered, and I will do my best to answer them on the fly. And if I can't answer them on the fly, we are recording this meeting to make sure we get back to your questions and post the responses on our website, which it would be great. Maybe Eric or somebody can put that website in the chat so you can see what it is. So I don't know who got on first, but I like your red headphones, Andrew. So why don't you ask the question and then we can just do a round robin. It's nice to see all of you. Please introduce yourself and maybe talk a little bit about where you work and what you're up to. Go for it.
Hi, yeah, okay, thank you. My name is Andrew Lush. I'm with the I Love Lucille Avenue Tenants Association. I'm actually joined by Luke here, and our neighbor Osby, who's off camera, and Elizabeth Blaney with Union de Vecinos. So we're a tenant-led co-op with Union de Vecinos as our 501c3 partner. And we're pursuing the acquisition of our 4-unit RSO building in Silver Lake. So we have a bunch of questions written down. I guess I'll just start at the top. We'll see how you want to answer these. We've heard from our local city council district member office that there might be a small NOFA program for buildings with 4 units like ours. So we're kind of wondering, for a 4-unit RSO building with tenants organizing, which NOFA program is most appropriate? Alternative models, preservation, or acquisition and rehab? Maybe that's a good place to start.
Okay. So the small NOAA program, you're correct. It's being administered outside of the Homes for LA NOFA. That is being done by a third party fund administrator, and I can get you more information on that as a follow-up. Under the Homes for LA NOFA, I think if you're pursuing an acquisition and potentially any sort of upgrades to the building, the ULA acquisition and rehab program makes the most sense. However, that doesn't mean you couldn't also apply for the ULA alt models preservation program. The difference is on the ULA AC rehab side, the loan amount that we would be offering would be up to 30% of the total development cost. In the case of an acquisition and a rehabilitation, we would pay up to 30% of both and or the acquisition costs, or a portion of acquisition costs and a portion of whatever the rehab is. Say you need to replace the roof or you need to bring up some of your units to the accessibility standards, we could pay for that. But the expectation is that the sponsor or you all would also be going to apply for tax credits to cover the remaining 70%. If you've never done that before, it can feel a little bit intimidating. And also, if you've never done that before, I would encourage partnership with a larger, maybe more mid-sized nonprofit developer. That's pathway A. Pathway B could be, and I'm not saying yes or no, I'm just giving you options. Pathway B could be the ULA alt models preservation program. Essentially, the difference here is that it's not really encouraging a change in ownership. So that may need to be negotiated before you actually apply for the funds. But what those funds would do or could do is essentially we would provide up to 100% fully paid, up to, not saying that that's what you get, but up to 100% of the total development cost to preserve your building. What is preservation? In this case, we're talking about capital preservation. So like I was saying earlier, big scale capital improvements, like if you need a new roof or if you need a new boiler or something like that, these funds would be a good opportunity to do those things. But in the case of the ULA preservation program, the acquisition component is a little bit less encouraged. So there's benefits to both. Also under the ULA preservation program, alt models preservation program, we would need to see like a scope of work associated with what you're proposing to use the funds for. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
And then one more thing, actually. The alt model, excuse me, the pooled sources preservation, that is again back to 30% of loan to value. So what that means is like we will size your loan based on the value of your building, based on the future value of your building with the improvements. That makes sense. But again, still 30%. So if you're not able to find other funds to support the improvements, then you probably want to look more at the 100% ULA alt models preservation program.
Can we cross apply between alternative models preservation, pooled sources preservation?
You can apply to both programs with the same project, but you can't submit one application that will then be applicable, that will then get you that will then help you, that will then require us to review the same application. So like, if you're applying for both programs, you need to submit 2 proposals, not 1 proposal for both programs.
Got it.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Andrew? Is that okay on this?
Please.
So on when you said the ULA acquisition, we can apply for, and we get up to 30%, and we have to get 70% covered through the tax credits. Can any of the other 70% be a loan from a CDFI?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. We would just need to see your whole stack completed, and we would need to be able to verify those commitments.
Okay. And then the other 2 clarifying questions, when you talked about the ULA alt model, 100% of development, but in that case, ownership doesn't change.
That's right.
So though the tenants are not the owner now, basically you're saying we would have to work with the current property holder to do that application, but it would still stay in his hands. So it's not an acquisition one. It's
That's right.
have one.
That's right. But what you could do is you could co-apply maybe, and then if there's an interest in changing the ownership structure later on, you could, I mean, I don't know much about this owner and what the dynamics are like or whatnot, but like you could potentially co-apply with the owner, get all the improvements done to the building, and then there could be an ownership transfer later on. And I think that we would need to be, not I think, that as a lender on the deal, we would need to be brought into that conversation about ownership change down the line. That's a requirement in our loan documents. But you're right, Elizabeth, that it would not necessitate ownership change.
And then last clarifying question, I'll pass it back to Andrew. All of these are loans that then the tenants need to pay back. These are not grants. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
The only program that may in the future transition to a grant program is the operations assistance program. But as of today, all 7 programs are loan programs. I can tell there's a lot of information being absorbed, and I want you all to know it's totally cool. You can come to as many of these as you need to understand what's going on.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, that's big news that they're all loan programs. Okay, great. Is there any, okay, can we cross apply with the small, you called it the small NOAA program, not NOFA?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Let me, for my LHD colleagues on the call, if you can note this as a question to follow up on, Lizzo, maybe if you can note this in the document. I don't know the answer to that question. I think the answer is no, but I don't know for sure.
I'll also highlight it in the transcript, Hannah.
Thanks, Adam.
Okay, yeah, we'll want to get information on that specifically. Okay. Um,
By the way, sorry, Andrew, Erin Mandel, are you with our friends at Unión de Vecinos? Aaron?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Do you guys mind if I give him just a quick chance to ask a question? Okay,
please.
Of course. yeah.
Aaron, go for it.
I'm sorry. This is Aaron Mandel. Did you want me to ask my questions or do you want to finish with them, which is fine also?
I think my video might be cutting out. Yes, the camera, but I think my internet's a little bit funky. Aaron?
Hey, oh, there you go. Hey, Aaron. Hannah did mention yes.
Sorry, Aaron,
We'll wait for a moment for Hannah's feed to buffer. Perhaps it's a slight technical difficulty. Yes, Aaron, she was actually directing the conversation back to you.
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can hear
we
you.
can hear you, Aaron.
Okay, hi, thank you. Yeah, I had a few different questions. Question one, I have a building that it has a regulatory agreement, but not from the city of Los Angeles. The city of Los Angeles is not a financial partner or doesn't have a regulatory agreement in any way, so it's not involved in the project. But we bought it, has a regulatory agreement from another public agency. We completed all the rehab, and it's had a bunch of struggles for different reasons. Excuse me. And I'm just wondering if there are any of these various loan programs which might be able to help it. It's in some financial distress. It hasn't been able to cover its mortgage. Like I said, all the rehab's done, and there's no existing City of LA involvement. So
Where is the project physically located?
it's in the city of Los Angeles. It's in
Okay.
Winnetka area.
So for the operations assistance program, which I think is the program you're talking about, we do require that the project already be in our portfolio, meaning it already needs to have had financing from us at some point. So that would not be an eligible project, unfortunately. I guess is the main issue that the building is not cash flowing?
That is correct. There is, we could probably, one of the things we had been intending to do to help the operations was to, put a solar installation on the roof, and kind of ran out of money in the project for that. And I wasn't sure if there was maybe a different loan program that could provide funding for that, which might kind of also help. But yeah,
We
generally it's kind of done except for the solar, and it's just not it's not able to pay its debt service right now. So
Well, I mean, there's an opportunity to apply for one of our preservation programs because those are essentially recapitalization programs, but for just the completion of solar might be a little bit of a stretch. So I don't I don't know which of our programs would necessarily be the right fit in this case, only because of that limiting factor on the operations assistance programs. Yeah, that's the conundrum for that. So I don't have a good answer for you. I'm sorry.
yeah, we were kind of looking through the various programs, and it seemed like for various reasons it might not be eligible, but at a high level, like I said, it's an affordable housing project in the city of LA that needs assistance. So is there maybe someone else we could talk to about if there's a way to fit it into one of these programs, or if an exception might be available, or how to kind of
Yeah,
figure this
I
out.
mean, yeah, no, I hear you. I think, there are gonna be funds coming forward through the Measure A and La Casa funding opportunities. I don't know if you've been following that very much, but the La Casa stands for Los Angeles County Housing Solutions Agency. And there will be operating assistance subsidies available for projects under that solicitation. I don't know exactly the timing for that, but I can get back to you on that. We may be administering some of those funds as well, so I can also get back to you on that. But as far as this Homes for LA NOFA, for the operations assistance program, we are not at this time accepting projects outside of our existing portfolio.
Yeah, and none of the other. Um,
I mean, you shouldn't be dissuaded from applying to one of the capital preservation programs. I don't know enough about your application to know if it'd be competitive or not. But I want to offer you the opportunity to apply for that.
Yeah, and that was another question. I was trying to look through those, and like I said, like we completed all the rehab already, and so like there's not a significant amount of rehab that's needed, and it's not eligible really for like a tax credit resyndication or anything like that. It just kind of needs like a little bit of help, maybe restructure, maybe pay off some of the debt or replenish the reserves, or maybe like the solar, um, installation. But that's about.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, outside of this NOFA, I know that there are like subsidy programs to do green building improvements, like the LIWP through the California Department of Community Services and Development. They do tons of weatherization program support. DWP also has a program for support that is CAMR. And they will come out and they can assess if you still need that solar support. I would definitely recommend reaching out to them. And then as far as replenishing reserves, I I don't think that our NOFA is going to be able to support that, but maybe there's a way to reevaluate some of the operating subsidies in your building. Maybe there's a way to increase some of your rents for tenants that can support it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is there someone we could sit down with that could, maybe walk through the details of our project to see what we could do? Because it's struggling. And like I said, I wasn't clear if any of these programs were working, but it sounds like maybe not, or we're eligible.
Yeah. I mean, like, we are one funder and a big landscape funders. I think we can help you understand our programs. I don't know if I can give you a full picture of everything that's available, but I'd be happy to reach out to some of my colleagues and ask.
Yeah, that'd be great if we, like I said, if there's someone we could sit down with and kind of have a more in-depth conversation, that'd be, obviously it might not solve the problem in that conversation, but would we flesh it out and maybe
Okay, yeah,
help.
okay.
Can I follow up on that? I'm actually with Aaron on this deal, and just a quick question on it, just as to the preservation option.
Yeah.
This is a naturally occurring affordable housing deal. That's why. So we have bonds on it, and it has a regulatory agreement on it. And we did, millions of dollars of rehab, and we have a 55-year regulatory agreement. And now we're just having issues stabilizing. And so we did this without LHD assistance because we were able to do it with the bonds. And now we're saying, okay, we are having trouble stabilizing a lot of reason because of rent ordinances and raising rents and or some restrictions anyways. So now the question is, well, here's all this money. How do we find one of these programs, not other programs, to make it work? And so with the preservation, is there a minimum per unit capital improvements that are needed? And if the improvements were done in the last year, is it possible to allocate those costs because we haven't yet stabilized to this recapitalization. So, I mean, I think Aaron's right that probably it's a more in-depth conversation, but just while we had you on this office hours, I wanted to just get your a little more detail to you to see if you could give a little more feedback there.
Yeah, I
We'd
mean,
like to go ahead.
I think like definitely don't want you to think we're not interested in helping you all out. The recapitalization programs, there is no, the maximum award amount is a percentage based on TDC or loan to value. So there's not like a specific unit cap at this point for preservation. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I mean, there's nothing prohibiting from you to still apply to the operations assistance program. Although we are, like I said, pretty much only looking at projects in our portfolio. So but there's always room to maybe adjust that or, you know, but so I think it might be worth it to submit an application there. And then finally, as far as the preservation goes, I mean, if you still have some capital needs, like it sounds like you do, we'd be happy to support them, but we don't typically offer operating dollars, and that's what it sounds like you all need. We just have this one program that we're doing this time around specifically for buildings in our portfolio. I feel
Are
like
reserves capital dollars, or are they operating dollars?
we would consider them to be operating dollars.
To capitalize the reserves.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, it sounds like you want to have a more in-depth conversation about this, and I don't want to take up more time from other
Okay.
askers.
Yeah, either do I. Either do I.
But sorry, do you mind if I ask what agency you or where you guys are from, who you're with?
We're just private investors here, but we have a lot of development experience in affordable housing.
Okay.
And a lot of experience with LHD too. My name is Andrew Gross. So again, I used to be with TSA.
Nice to meet you.
So, yes.
Oh, you're with Tom
So,
Safran?
I used to be. I used to run development there years ago. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, another thing is that for the ULA, some of the ULA programs, there are requirements on who can apply, nonprofit versus for-profit. So
Mhm.
take a quick look at that because there are some distinguishing features there that
Yeah, I think we're
exclude.
okay on that.
Okay.
We looked at that. I think we're okay on that.
It's more about how to fit our situation within one of your programs. It's the question, and there's a definite need. The last question I'll let you go is, what is the definition of being in your portfolio?
Meaning at some point in time, the project received financing from us.
And would that
or has
could
a
that-
loan with us.
I got it. Would financing include reimbursement for retrofit or anything like that?
I don't think so, no. But
All right. Well,
I
go
don't
ahead.
want to say definitively no. This is similar to the answer to the question I was answering earlier. Adam, if you can highlight that part just to make sure that that's correct, because
Sure deal.
the idea is to basically support struggling projects in our portfolio because we have a lot of those. But the point you're making is like, what about the projects in the world that are in good physical health, but are in maybe limited operational health, and how do we support those? I don't know what the sample size of that scenario is. Seems
And,
small.
and just to clarify that this is a very unique situation because this is a NOAA deal, a naturally occurring affordable housing deal, which
Yeah.
and so we were able to do this without LHD assistance. And so if there's a way to get NOAA included in it, it would make sense because normally it would. Yeah, go ahead.
We have a separate program called the Small NOAA program that Andrew Lush on this call was referring to earlier today, that's being administered outside of this NOFA. So that could be an option for you as well. And I don't think that the same requirement applies that the project has to already have, had a loan with the housing department. So that's another flag. Maybe we should just put that on our website, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. The small
can you distribute the information about that so we can look it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna just Google it right now. ULA. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna Google it right now. Adam, if you could just highlight that as well, I will make sure to follow up with you guys on that or put it on the website.
Fantastic. All right, we'll digest this all. Thank you. I won't take any more time. Appreciate
Yeah, no,
everybody.
sorry I couldn't. Hopefully you got something out of that and we'll talk soon. Any other questions?
Yeah, looking forward to learning about the small NOAA program. But so for any of these, can very small sites under 10 units realistically compete for scoring, or will we be deprioritized against larger projects?
So the scoring criteria doesn't explicitly require that, I mean, there are limits, there are floors, and there's basically just floors to certain project or certain programs. So I think if you look on page 5 of the NOFA regs, you can see what all the unit requirements are for the different programs, number of units. There's an expectation, for like ULA multifamily new construction that there's at least 40 units. I guess it's, there may be a slight disadvantage for smaller sized projects because of economies of scale, basically. However, I don't want that to discourage you from applying. I do think that the small NOAA program is designed to support projects that are much smaller, like 10
Yeah.
units below, but don't be discouraged from applying.
Very cool. Are pre-acquisition costs like legal and appraisal, are those things allowable in an application?
Yes.
Okay, great. What kind of documentation do you expect, like bylaws, board structure, meeting minutes, in terms of, establishing like a tenant led organization?
What kind of documents? Is that your question?
Yeah. How are we?
Yeah, so, and you're asking for the tenant governance requirements?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So, I mean, basically, we just want to see that as an organization, you have some experience with either tenant organizing or tenant governance. And that can be expressed through what we've described in the NOFA, or it could be expressed through, agenda packets or like, tenant organizing events that you have all put together. We'll be able to tell, I think, whether it's good faith effort or not. But essentially we just want to know, like, has the organization worked with a group of tenants to seek a collective goal or to achieve a collective goal? So I think our requirements on what kind of documentation should be available are fairly broad. Those were just some examples that we provided in the regs.
Okay, very cool. Site control. I'm a little less familiar with this, but what forms of site control are accepted? Purchase and sale, option to purchase. How long must site control be in place before an application?
So I'm actually going to open the regs myself because I want to make sure I answer this consistently with what it is that you're saying. Sec. If you go down to the threshold documents, and I'm sure you've already looked at this in the NOFA, but I'm opening it up for myself just to make sure we're on the same page. It's in section 5. So fully executed purchase and sale agreement, development and disposition agreement, those are examples of site control. Those are
Okay.
documents that, the first one obviously is like, have you purchased the property and do you own it? The second one is, is there an agreement in place that you will come to own the property and at what time? So these are pretty standard legal documents, contracts that demonstrate that the person applying actually owns the property, or they have a pathway to own the property.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, and a clean title as well. So title report on the property needs to not have any, issues with it.
For occupied RSO properties, are there any additional requirements to apply, like habitability, relocation plans, rate
Yes,
of return?
so relocation assessments are required actually across any program that's gonna potentially be relocating somebody. So relocation plan assessment and then a plan is required. I would need to look again at the NOFA, but if you, oh, thanks, Adam. Adam put Aaron and Andrew, Adam put the small NOAA program guidelines here in the chat.
Okay.
I think you should take a look at those and I can get you more information on when that program is going live. Sorry, going back to your question about what are the requirements on the RSO. There is a whole section in the threshold documents table that describes what specific documents are required for preservation projects. So like, for example, on page 29 of the NOFA, document number 18, talks about, you know, it's a preservation project only required document. So take a look there because we talk about what's required when you're potentially like demolishing or rehabbing a new unit.
Okay. If the tenants are already in place and not being displaced, how can we demonstrate compliance?
A relocation, because I guess while you're doing the rehab on the unit, the person's not going to be able to live there, correct?
Well, I'm not sure. We need to have a really detailed assessment done, but the building needs some foundation work and other upgrades, plumbing, electrical, but it's basically habitable at the moment. We all live there. I live here.
Okay, we're gonna need to see a relocation assessment and relocation plan if there are gonna be habitability changes to the unit.
Okay.
Can you all
That's straightforward.
excuse me? I need to use the restroom. I will be right back.
Sure.
Right back.
By the way, I feel the need to mention this as Hannah stepped back. All of this is being recorded and all of your questions will be added to our question queue. And so, but same with this, the transcript of this entire, boy, I'm seeing pop up in the transcription too. This is fun. All the transcription of this will be provided online as well. And we have all of your contact information when it comes to emails and things like that. So if there are detailed answers you're looking for and we state we you know, we'll look up for something, we can reach out to you as well to make sure that you have that information. And because it'll be transparent and public, if you want to look it up in the future, you'll be able to do so on your own as well. So we just want to make sure that there are multiple different routes to get you what you need to know. And once again, on my part, certainly appreciate everyone's patience with the technical difficulties and the other fun stuff that have been happening today. It seems to be happening in a lot of different places. So the world is fun. I'll leave you all alone now. Feel free to browse through anything we have dropped in the chat. And once again, just thank you so much for participating and being willing to participate in all of this. We really appreciate all of the involvement coming from a lot of different parties. So thank you.
Thanks so much. I just have a couple more questions.
I'm sure Hannah will be happy to take them when she gets right
Yeah.
back. You don't want my
Elizabeth.
answers. There'd be a lot of like, oh no, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, sure.
That's great. Elizabeth and Luke, I was just going to ask about the timeline, if awarded, how soon can funds actually be dispersed? And then I was just going to ask what other if there's any specific technical assistance for tenant-led groups like ours. Is there anything else you can think of that I haven't sort of asked?
Yeah, I just want to ask about the eligibility in terms of the applicant. regarding-
Yeah, I
So,
saw your question.
Hi,
Yeah.
I'm back.
Hi.
Okay, sorry about that.
We just have a couple more questions between, I think, me and Elizabeth.
Okay.
If awarded, how soon can funds actually be dispersed?
The soonest, well, so we are closing the NOFA on October 20th. We plan to make recommendations for awardees on or before December 15th to our city council. And then in the new year, we will issue award letters and I mean, depending on the type of project, cash could be dispersed as soon as next spring.
Okay, so no exact date for next spring.
No, not an exact date because all projects work on different timelines.
Okay. Is any technical assistance available specifically for tenant-led groups like ours? I mean, you're already doing these office hours and there's, this is great, but just, do you kind of know what I'm asking?
This is as good as we can offer.
Gotcha.
But if there are specific technical questions you have, like we want to help you. So we want to help you without, giving you an advantage over other applicants.
Yeah.
So just continue to email us and ask questions and we can help you through this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elizabeth?
yeah, I just wanted to be clear in terms of the applicant because I saw in your NOFA around who could apply, limited partnerships, LLCs, nonprofit developers, but does it need to be a nonprofit developer? And if it can only be like a nonprofit affordable housing developer, as opposed to any other nonprofit, since you also said that LLCs could apply, how long of a history does the LLC need to be in like existence, and what would you be looking for specifically to be a strong LLC applicant?
Yeah, so we are underwriting, we do have our sponsorship underwriting guidelines on the website. They are, let's see if I can share my screen. Nope. That's okay. I will put the website here, or if you open the website and you look at the where is it? Our underwriting. Here we go. If you go onto our website and you look at the exhibit section and you look at the project and sponsor underwriting guidelines, and I can't put it in the chat, but that's okay. It's on the website. If you go to the exhibit section and you click on that, you can see what kind of factors we're looking at in terms of experience and wherewithal from the sponsor. We don't provide exact number of years, like you must have 5 years of experience to do this. Because that's internal to the department, but we are looking for substantial. I mean, substantial is a relative term. We're looking for experience. I guess, some LLC that's done this before. And I know that organizations get formed for the purposes of applying for tax credit deals, but that the development team needs to be able to demonstrate the experience, even if the LLC that they just formed doesn't, because it's new.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah, and I'm actually, Adam, I'm gonna chat you the fund administrator services for the small NOAA RFP is open and it closes on the 27th of October. So, I'm gonna chat that to you, Adam, via Google
Sounds
chat. And
good.
if you can put
Yep.
that in the chat here with everyone. That basically, if you click on that link, the main thing on that file is the RFP, so you can read a little bit about the program. And then Adam already posted the guidelines for that program in the permanent ULA guideline that's included in the permanent ULA guidelines. So take a look at that solicitation, take a look at the guidelines there to understand whether or not what you're proposing would be a good fit. And I was kind of wrong in saying that we've already selected an administrator for that program. We haven't. The bid date for that closes on the 27th of October, and then after that, we'll start getting the program rolling.
Yeah, that's all the questions I had. Thank you.
And sorry, just so I heard that correctly, the small NOAA program really starts after October 27th.
Yes, because that's when they'll have selected a fund manager.
Got it. Thank you so much.
This is very helpful. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, happy to help. Excited to see some new faces here, and thank you so much for joining. We'll be around next week, Tuesday, 4 to 5. And actually, usually I am the person on Tuesdays, and my colleague Edwin is the person on Thursdays, but we had to switch this week. So I'll see you maybe next time, and look forward to working with you in the future. Good luck. Thanks, LHD team. You guys are the best. Appreciate you. I'm gonna sign off now. Bye.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Again, thanks, folks.